Noah Church here. I got this great message from somebody combating a fear of public speaking. He says, basically, I'm fairly capable of working through my more generalized social anxiety. It is slowly, steadily decreasing. Good job. But my public speaking anxiety is real bad. When I'm made to speak in front of a large group, my heart beats extremely fast, I choke up, and my voice shakes. It is very debilitating, and it has a pretty catastrophic effect on my confidence. Dude, you are not alone here. Man, when I was younger and I had to speak in front of a class or give a presentation, man, my heart would be beating not only fast but really strong. I'd feel it shaking my entire body, like boom, 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 boom. My hands would be quivering. I'd be sweating and shaking. I just wanted to get out of there. I would almost be in a surreal, nightmarish experience. Like, is this really happening or is it all just a dream? Man, you're not alone. Not only because I've been there, but because on lists, on surveys of people's greatest fears, public speaking is often number one. Bigger than death. There's this girl I just started seeing, very slow, beginning to a good relationship it seems, and we had a great night last night and I felt very confident. But the more I think about how I still have this lingering public speaking anxiety, the more I feel anxious being around people in general. It's like I'm letting this one little flaw destroy my confidence. Have you ever dealt with anything like this? I almost feel like I'm not worthy or ready to be anyone's boyfriend, unless I can speak confidently in front of 20 people I don't know. I feel like I'm hiding a deep insecurity as long as I am dealing with this, like I am somehow not good enough to do the relationship thing with this anxiety. Is that flawed thinking, or do you think that I really need to work through all my anxiety before getting involved in an intimate relationship with this girl? And we're all on the path to self-development, but part of that, and I'm all about this, is that the ideals are never going to be reached. You're never going to be anxiety-free. You're never going to be perfect. So don't, in this relationship, just because you have some weaknesses still that you have to work on. If everyone did that, there'd be no relationships. If you think this is going to be a good thing for you two, then don't sacrifice it so easily. What I would recommend is open up to her. Talk about this with her. Say something like, babe, I just really wanted to talk to you about something. I have to get this off my chest because it's been weighing on my mind. I don't expect you to fixate or give me any dynamite advice or anything. I just wanted to share this with you. And that's that I have this really big fear of public speaking. I get so anxious when I have to do it, and it bothers me a lot because it's something that I really want to be good at. And just keep talking about your feelings. By allowing yourself to be vulnerable here, by opening up, you show her that you trust her, for one, and also that you trust yourself enough, you trust who you really are enough, to open up and show that to the world. Show the world who you are, weaknesses and all, because you know you're strong enough at your core to take any criticism, any gaze at your true self. And that's going to make your relationship a lot stronger if you do that. I'm considering getting some Xanax for my class presentation in March, but I know that won't take care of the problem, and I can't rely on that again because of how addictive that pill can be. I feel kind of trapped in a corner. Pharmaceuticals, man. Western society is all about the pharmaceutical fix. And for some things, it's a great fix. I was in Africa, and I got malaria. Yeah, like 8 years ago. And I felt like shit. I felt really bad. And I don't think I would have been able to get over malaria just with positive thinking and self-improvement. So I went and got some drugs. And within a couple of days, the symptoms were gone. So if you have malaria or something, yeah, by all means, go get some drugs. But for something like this, something that has more to do with your confidence levels and a challenge that you've got to face and overcome on your own, pharmaceuticals are just going to get in the way because they'll you're telling yourself by taking those that you need this as a crutch to get over these challenges. And that's just not true. I mean, I've seen you speak. Man, I've seen some of your videos, the person who wrote this message. And when you're just speaking from the heart, you've got a lot of powerful things to say. And people love that. People will pay attention to that. If you're just being yourself, being genuine, they will lap that up. You don't need Xanax for this, man. I've definitely noticed improvements in social anxiety as a direct result of NoFap, but the performance anxiety element seems much stronger and much slower to improve. At this point, even after that relapse last week, which doesn't seem to have had much of an effect on my confidence at all, I think it's safe to say, after some 6 months of rebooting, that in terms of confidence, I've probably experienced all the improvement I'm meant to experience through quitting porn. So what he's talking about here is quitting porn, quitting masturbation, which a lot of people find has caused problems in their life, including social anxiety. He quit a while ago and he's wondering, well, have I seen all the benefits I'm going to see? And this is such a new phenomenon, quitting porn and recovering from porn addiction, because internet porn is so new that we don't really know how long it takes people to recover from porn-induced symptoms. We don't really know which symptoms are porn-induced and which are just who you are. So don't write it off so quickly. I've talked to guys who didn't really recover from clearly related porn-induced symptoms for more than a year after quitting. So don't write it off as a complete journey that you've seen all you're going to see benefit-wise from NoFap. But also don't rely on just waiting for the time to go by to increase your confidence and decrease your anxiety. How we can really get the ball rolling on this is by just going out into the world, finding opportunities to challenge yourself, putting yourself in uncomfortable situations, and expanding your competence and your confidence that way. Is embarrassing the hell out of myself repeatedly really going to get me over the anxiety? Some say that, others say that it can be traumatic and make it even harder to overcome the problem. Man, this is conditioning yourself to not fear embarrassment by going out and embarrassing yourself all the time, which I don't think is very productive if your goal going into it is to embarrass yourself, because that just ties that emotion of embarrassment to the activity of putting yourself out there. I'd rather associate pride and accomplishment and achievement with putting yourself out there. So I recommend going out there, yeah, facing challenges, putting yourself on the line, but doing it with your best foot forward, trying your best, doing your best. And that way when you see the positive results of that, you're reaping the rewards. People come up to you and say, man, that was really powerful. People applaud, whatever. That creates a positive association in your mind. Public speaking is good, makes me feel these good things. If you're just going out purposefully to embarrass yourself, then it's public speaking equals embarrassment. I don't think that's very productive. Sometimes, even putting your best foot forward, you're going to embarrass yourself. But that's just life. You're going to fail a lot before you succeed. And unless you fuck up just marvelously, magnificently, and get yourself on national television or trending on Twitter or something, only a tiny fraction of the people in the world are going to see your fuck up, and they're going to forget about it within a couple of days, so don't worry about that. So, myself, in public speaking, I don't have any formal training really. I'm not in Toastmasters. I took a couple of acting classes, but nothing that really focused on being a speaker. What I have done is recognized how awesome public speaking can be, and I realized that that's something I wanted to get good at. The first time I really did it was I was valedictorian in my high school, and I spoke for a few minutes in front of about 3,500 people. And I saw that they resonated with what I was saying. And that was fucking awesome. You know, people came up to me afterward and said, wow, that was really powerful. And creating that positive association with public speaking and pride caused me to pursue it over and over again. And it's only gotten better and better. Not to say that it went off without a hitch. I was so relieved that I got through it all without fumbling over my words or forgetting what I was supposed to be doing, that when it came time to exit the stage, and since I was valedictorian, I was supposed to exit first, I had no idea where to go. I just completely blanked. And I ended up walking off the wrong way and caused a clusterfuck, but regardless, it was a success. First thing I recommend doing here, man, is to find out what you're really afraid of. What really makes you anxious about public speaking. The best way to do that, I think, the way I use, is to journal. Just write about your experiences public speaking, all the bad stuff, all the good stuff, and you'll end up digging up all this shit out of your subconscious. All these memories and all these emotional experiences that you've had with public speaking and rejection and criticism. And once you can face that through writing about it, you can realize, oh, this is all bullshit. I can move past this. I can do better. I don't have to be constrained and chained down by these past experiences. Second, that feeling that we get that's so particular to public speaking and like being chased by a ravenous lion, are when we feel that heart pounding, sweating, shaking, oh my god, I gotta fight or I gotta fly. That's a powerful feeling. I watched this TED Talk by Kelly McGonigal about stress, and she said she was citing a study that showed that stress causes health problems like hypertension, heart disease, but only in people who believe that stress causes health problems. Yeah. So people who have stressful lives who don't believe stress is bad for them, stress will not be bad for them. But people who do believe stress is bad for them and have stressful lives, they suffer the health effects. It's all in your mind. What she recommends here, which helps not only with long-term health, but also public speaking, I found, is to reframe how you think about that fight or flight response. Most people think, oh my god, how can I speak? I can barely breathe. My heart is beating, like my head is pounding. How can I perform like this when I feel like this? But that's not how you should think about it. How you should think about it is, okay, my heart's beating fast. I'm wide awake. I'm alert. This is my body preparing me to just kick the shit out of this presentation. Just blow everyone away. This is my body preparing me to do a kick-ass job. And when you align yourself with that natural autonomic response system, then you can act as a harmonious being. You're not fighting part of yourself trying to speak calmly. You're using that part of yourself, that adrenalized part of yourself, to put yourself out there and do the best job you can. So think about that. When you start feeling that heart-fluttering sensation, use that technique. Body language. Body language is really important. Naturally confident people communicate with their body that they're centered, they're grounded. Nothing's going to shake them off of knowing who they are, what they're doing in this world, where they're going, and how they treat people. Unconfident people are easily pushed around. They often fidget, have nervous hand-wringing, or put their hands in their pockets, bite their nails. They'll move around, uncomfortable being still, pacing, twitching, tapping their foot, because they're not comfortable just being who they are, being still. I'm just going to show you some ways that naturally confident people move, and by integrating these, by practicing them every day, you can make it second nature. And then when you go up to speak in front of a crowd, it won't be, oh, well, I've got to put my foot here, got to move my hips this way. No, it'll just be who you are now. It'll just be natural. And it will greatly improve your presence at the head of a room. Let's start just with how we stand. Feet shoulder width apart. Modest but strong. Good foundation. Too close together and you don't have a strong base. You're easily pushed around. Too wide apart and it's like you're can come off as arrogant, like you're trying to show off your junk. There's no need for that. Just modest but strong, shoulder width apart. Hips. These are a very important pivot point for the body. If they're unlocked, if your hips are pushed out, your bum is back, then it moves the torso forward. And leaning forward when you're interacting with people communicates that you value them more than you value yourself. You're eager and anxious. You're not centered and grounded. So, lock your hips under your spine. Creates a strong foundation, and it straightens the torso. Now the spine itself shouldn't be ramrod straight like you're standing at attention in the military, because that communicates that, well, you're trying to impress people, you're not really comfortable, calm, relaxed. Shouldn't be hunched over either, because that says, well, you don't have a strong purpose, ambition, fire, you don't hold yourself with respect. There's a middle ground here where you're straight but calm, almost reclining as you stand. Like, think of yourself as a king in his kingdom and your body is your throne. Relaxed, regal, calm. Your chest should be open. Nervous people, like say at a party, you see someone holding their drink up here. That's because they're trying to defend this emotional center here, the heart. They're nervous about what people are thinking, maybe they're talking to a pretty girl, and they automatically scrunch up. Their energy goes up high, like this. That's because they're not comfortable allowing themselves to be vulnerable. So lower your arms, open up your chest. This communicates that no matter what comes your way, no matter what hits you, you can take it. You're strong. You're centered. Nothing is going to knock you off your game. Your breathing needs to come from down below, deep in your gut. This is how babies breathe. Watch a baby breathe. They're relaxed. They're not nervous or anxious. It's all coming from the gut. None of that. Your chest should not be expanding. Your shoulders should not be shrugging while you breathe, unless you just ran a 5K. Notice how you can hardly see me move at all while I'm breathing with my belly. It's the most efficient way to breathe. Whenever you're anxious or calm, take note of your breath. What's happening to it? Is it high and shallow? Focus on just putting your breath back into your gut. Slow it down, and that will reground you emotionally. How we move needs to be with purpose. When you're walking somewhere, stride with confidence. Move like you know where you're going, what you're doing, who you are. Don't hurry. Don't be anxious and in a rush, but also don't just be wandering around not sure where to go. If you're in a team activity, a team sport, and you're not sure where you're supposed to be, what you're supposed to be doing, don't communicate that lack of certainty with your body. Like, over here, looking expectantly at whoever is in charge, or here. No, just be comfortable being still. There's great power in being still. It says to people that, this is me. I'm fine just standing here, being who I am. And lock eyes with whoever knows what's going on. Just ask, where would you like me? Over there? Okay. Then once you know what you're doing, move over there. These are ways that confident people move. Look at other people and how they move. What words come to mind when you're looking at their body language? By looking at other people, learning from their example, you can then turn your gaze to yourself and alter your own movements. Video yourself. Record yourself doing a speech. Take note of any tics you have, like nail biting, hand wringing, anything like that. Pacing, looking from side to side, looking up or down. Look at people. This is where life happens, right here on this plane. Look in people's eyes. And try not to be the first one to look away. Do this as a game. Just go out into the world and look at people in the eyes. They lock eyes with you. What happens? Sometimes they'll get into staring matches for 5 or 10 seconds. And at that point, I usually just say, hey, what's up? But most of the time, they'll look away. Either they'll look to the side, which tends to communicate that they just don't want to spend the time looking at you. They got more important things to worry about. Or they'll look down, which communicates that they're intimidated by you. Start thinking about this stuff, how body language works on a conscious level and a subconscious level. Once you're conscious of these, you can actually adapt and integrate them into your own body. And then once you got the movements down, and that feels like second nature, your mind will just become more confident. So go out into the world and practice these things. Just walk differently. Walk how a confident person would walk. Move how a confident person would move. And take note of how other people treat you differently. Do people smile at you more? Do they listen to you more carefully? These are the things that can happen once you integrate these. So practice. It's pretty awesome. Your voice and your speech patterns. Very important. Second to body language, but still paramount. Your voice shouldn't be up here. When people get nervous and their voice goes up, their breathing goes up, like I was talking about in body language. It should be coming from down here, in your chest, in your gut, vibrato, speaking from a place of power and authority. Speak slowly. A lot of people, they get up to the front of the room and they want to rush because they hate public speaking and they just don't want to be there. They want to get it done. And they end up tripping over their words, forgetting where they are, and it takes just as long as it would if they just calmly spoke, said what they needed to say, and did it in a calm and collected, articulate manner. That's another thing. Articulate. Be sure that each word gets the import it deserves from your attention. Don't apologize or don't feel apologetic for being up there. You are there to give a gift. of your wisdom to other people. You got to honor that responsibility by being prepared and having something important to say. But once you're up there and you have that preparation under your belt, know that this is something you're providing for others. Don't apologize for being up at the head of the room. Take up the space, take up the time, and give to others of your wisdom. One thing that throws a lot of people off and threw me off when I first started speaking publicly was the way the audience looks at you while you're speaking. And in a regular conversation, the person you're speaking to, they'll give cues, facial cues. They'll say things like, "Oh, wow, that's really cool. How interesting. Keep telling me more." But an audience is not going to do this. They're not going to do these things that communicate they're interested in what you have to say. No, they're going to be looking at you like this. And that's if you're lucky. If you're not lucky, they'll be looking down at their smartphones. This, when you see a sea of faces staring at you blankly, can cause an immense amount of insecurity in you. It does in me, or it did in me before I realized what was really going on. I would start to think, oh my god, they don't like what I have to say, they're judging me, and then I'd get up all in my head, and I'd forget where I was. But no, audiences, they're looking at you like they would look at a television, right? They're not going to show a television that they're interested in what the television has to say, even if they are. So don't worry about the audience reaction while you're speaking. Worry about yourself, the reason you're there, the message you're trying to give, what you're trying to teach, and everything else will take care of itself. Trust me. Use notes. Yeah. You certainly can go up and give a long speech even without notes. I've done it. But it takes a lot more practice. Use notes. Not the type of notes where it's just all written out verbatim. You don't want to read from a piece of notes. You don't want to recite from memory either. Because that gives the impression, it communicates that you're like reading out of an encyclopedia. People zone out. They don't want to pay attention to that. That's why when I take notes, when I write notes for a speech, I just write a list of ideas, things that I want to go over. And if I get stuck or I blank, I can look down, oh, yeah, that was the next idea I was going to go over. And then I can start again. And I practice, but I don't practice word for word. I'm not reciting. I just look at the idea and then I communicate. I'm actually talking to people. I'm coming from this place of authenticity. And people can tell. People can tell when you're coming from that place. And they are more engaged with you when you are coming from that place. Because they can tell that you're fully present. You're communicating with honesty and integrity. Be organic. Be adaptable. People too often box themselves into rigid systems. And when some small part of that rigid system breaks down, they just completely lose it. They melt down. So I saw this talk given by Michael B.E recently. And apparently the teleprompter malfunctioned. And he just couldn't handle it. I'll show you that video in a minute. But if you go into it organic, adaptable, just like you're having a conversation with somebody, then whatever comes at you, you can take it, you can flip it, you can use it. We've been speaking to each other for our whole lives. Public speaking is really not that much different. It's just that more of the onus is on us to carry the conversation. Practice. Yeah, you gotta practice. First, just practice staring at a wall, going over your speech, and then practice looking into a mirror, and then record yourself. Analyze yourself. What did you do well? What could you improve on? What nervous tics do you have? That sort of thing. And then practice in front of other people. It is so different to give a speech with some pairs of eyeballs staring at you than it is just to give it to a wall. It just feels so incredibly different. So definitely practice for other people before you do the real thing. Now let's take a look at this video of Michael B.E here. And I'll go ahead and analyze what he does. And I'll go ahead and analyze what he does in a way that shows you how you should be analyzing yourself.
Ladies and gentlemen, director and producer Michael B.E.
Alright, notice this. What's that little leg flare that he's doing there? That is anxious energy right there. And the way he walked out, fast, head bowed. See, his back is not straight. He's not walking like a king. He's not relaxed. He's leaning forward into this And the way he shakes this guy's hand, watch this. Like half a second. He's not really focused on that. He's not in the moment. If I was walking out there, I would shake his hand for a good couple of seconds, look him in the eye, say, "Nice to be here," and then turn to the audience. I'm taking my time. I'm not rushing. This guy, he's already so up in his head that he can't focus on the moment. He can't be in the moment.
How is everyone today? My job.
Alright, look at his hand wringing right here. It's all up guarding the emotional center, wringing his hands. No, right off the bat, we can tell he's nervous. We can tell he's not comfortable up there.
As a director, is I get to dream for a living.
Michael, you know, you're known for such unbelievable action. What inspires you? How do you come up with these unbelievable ideas?
This guy is a little bit better, but he's still too far in. He's too up in his chest. And that's okay because he's not the front runner here. He's not the king on the stage. He's just a supporting character. At least he's comfortable enough to speak in complete sentences.
I create visual worlds that are so beyond everyone's normal life experiences. And Hollywood is a place that creates a viewer escape. And what I try to do is, as a director, I try to... the type is all off, sorry, but I'll just wing this.
Tell us what you think.
He is not comfortable. He's not organic. He's not fluid. He has a system in place. System breaks down. He can't handle it.
Yeah, we'll wing it right now. I try to take people on an emotional ride, and
all he really has to do here is talk about what he does for a living every single day. Think he'd have something to say, right? But no, he's so up in his head, so reliant on that system, that speech that he wrote or that somebody else wrote, that he can't even do that. He can't just go back and have a conversation with people. If something like this happens to you and you just completely blank, just have a conversation with the audience.
The curve? How do you think it's going to impact how viewers experience your movies?
excuse me, I'm sorry. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Wow. Look at how he's walking off stage there. Head bowed down, shoulders slumped. That is shame and humiliation right there. Ouch. That hurts. I don't want that to happen to you. So get comfortable with this stuff. And have fun up there. Have some fucking fun. Because this is awesome. It is fun to be the center of attention. Go in with that mindset. Confidence is a habit. Public speaking well is a habit. Everything is a damn habit. Practice this stuff every day. You'll get good. So if anyone out there has a concern, a life thing that they think that I might have some insight into, send me a message. My contact info is in the description. Write 3 or 4 paragraphs, detailed but brief. And if I think that it's something that I can offer some insight on, I'll do a video. Coach Church signing out.